Great to have you with us in Araxa, Brazil. Would you take a look at that? It is time for the first beeline of the season. It is just wrapped up. The first XCC day of the 2025 UCI Mountain Bike World Series. We have had pretty good afternoon, I think it's fair to say. So we're going to get you the highlights in a moment's time. But just to set the scene, let's reintroduce our regulars, Carlson and Oli Beckingsale and Henrique Avancini, the man who cannot walk 2 seconds without somebody asking him to sign something in Brazil. It actually makes shooting a live show quite difficult, but you have been fantastic today, Henry. What is it about this Brazilian crowd that is so special and this race here so special?
I think that was built, over the years. I mentioned on the pre-show, we have such a strong connection with this place. Like the mountain bike community in the country loves Araxa. So it's so special for us to have the World Cup here. And you could feel the energy, the vibes. I think it's gonna only build up for tomorrow and also for the next week. Sorry. And I think today was just like icebreaker. For the crowd and also for the riders. A lot of interesting stuff, to say the least.
Yes, so many storylines which we're going to get to in a moment's time. And of course, we will be back here. We're sticking around here for 2 weekends. So there is plenty to discuss in terms of the track, which will change, Josh. But today, how's it looking?
I mean, today, this course is known for being technical, especially the XCO course. But this XCC course, I guess it was actually quite tactical today more than technical. The jumps were there, and that was obviously an issue under fatigue. There's a couple of steps, but the tactical nature of it, this is a bit of a horsepower course, being in the right place at the right time. We saw a couple of scenarios play out in the men and the women's. The XCO race is going to be the technical side of this. So we've seen the tactics play out, which is probably a great way to start, I think, to start the season very tactically. Lets the riders get a bit of energy out, lets them lay down and burn a few matches, see where the legs are at, see how they feel. And then tomorrow we can get stuck into the meat and goodies. Yeah,
there were certainly a few matches burnt today. The other thing that we were looking at heading into this first race was all these transfers. Oli, you were so intrigued to see how they play out.
Yeah, never seen anything like it in all the years of been following the sport and competing in it. And it's an end of an Olympic cycle, so you normally have a lot of riders out of contract at that point, so you normally expect some changes. But we've had new teams come in. Origin and Mondraker Factory have come in, so that's new riders moving around. And I think we've also seen a lot of younger riders come up from U23s, and they've taken positions on teams. And these wildcard teams and the ability to have to get into a top 15 position to secure your slot at all the races, that means that team selectors or managers have to be really smart of who they've hired. And we've seen more diversity between male, female, and younger riders in teams. So it's looking really exciting.
Okay, so that is to set the season at the start of play today. That was how things are looking. And of course, this is just, as Oli says, day one of a massive season that is going to span across 7 months and across multiple continents. We spent 2 weekends in Araxa before heading on to the European swing. It's going to be intriguing where the pinch points are across the course of that European glut of races that we cannot wait to cover. And then the conclusion of it all stateside and then in Mont Saint-Anne. So the race is finished moments ago. Let's bring you the highlights from the first elite short track of the season, the women.
The opening round of the 2025 Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series took place in Araxa, Brazil. And it started with the UCI Cross Country Short Track World Cup. Evie Richards, the UCI World Champion, lined up alongside the overall title holder, Alessandra Keller. Richards in the white and rainbow stripes, making her presence felt right from the start. Jenny Risvids in the green of Canyon Collective for the first time was dominant early on. Lyra Steger from Specialized Factory Racing, Austrian national champion, was in the mix, as was the French national champion, Loana Lecomte, riding for her new team, BMC Racing. Lecomte, a brace of UCI cross-country Olympic World Cup wins to her name last season, look renewed. But it was Alessandra Keller in the red. Question marks abound about Keller before this race. coming back from ACL surgery on a spot of illness in the team camp, but you wouldn't have known it based on today's performance. Richards not afraid to lead from deep in the race, was right in contention, as was Samara Maxwell from New Zealand in the white and blue of the Oceania Continental Champion. Keller got to the front as ever, riding on feel, and you just wondered, was she about to add to that wins title that would see her equal that of Pauline Ferrand-Prévost's? But Samara Maxwell attacked up the climb, and the Kiwi turned a sizable group into a trio. They were joined towards the end by Kohler, Ghost Factory Racing, but it was Evie Richards' attack on this climb that really started to put the pain into her rivals. Richards led Maxwell onto the start-finish straight for the last time. And just as she did in 2024, opened her season account with a win. Samara Maxwell emotional after that one. And here's how they racked up. Richards, Maxwell, Keller, Kohler, Fry, your top five. And it was Jackson, Lil, Risfids, Bum, and Courtney. Champagne flew for the first time at the UCI Cross Country Short Track World Cup. Here's how they stood. Richards, Maxwell, Keller, Kohler, and Fry.
Oh, testament to these amazing crowds here in Araxa that the racing has long since finished, but there's still people ready to hear, hoping to chat to Henrique Avancini. I know what the real reason it is, because they have been enjoying such a good afternoon out. And Evie Richards got this season started so beautifully. You can see the energy that she brings to everything she does in the celebration afterwards. But Oli Beckingsale, she basically rode the perfect short track.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, the race is going to be decided from a small group with 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go. That's normally how it plays out. Ideally, you want to sit there in 3rd or 4th wheel all race, saving your energy and just staving it all for one big attack. And that's exactly what Evie did today. She rode perfectly, didn't get caught up in any crashes, attacked that last climb. What she was really good at, obviously got this big jump section, a big A-line before it, was really fast. And it's not just about the speed, it's how relaxed you can be as well and hit those jumps, and she was amazing.
Yeah, it was how relaxed she was on those jumps that seemed to make a real difference, Henry. And also the climb. There was a crucial climb that each of the women who went to the front just handled so beautifully.
Yeah, I think the race pace was perhaps too high. That's why we saw so many explosions from top contenders. So yeah, I think first race of the season. Yeah. You come to Brazil, like good vibes, good crowd, you want to smash the pedals, but there is a price for it. And some riders, they might face the race in a different way tomorrow. I think Evie, she just balanced very well today. All the top 3, they did very well, actually. Perhaps Alexandra went too early on the race. And I just had a quick chat with her after the race, and she was like so happy because it was way above her own expectations coming here. So I think that's going to help her quite a lot for tomorrow's race and also for next weekend and for the rest of the season. Yeah,
I mean, in fact, Evie Richards herself also said this, this wasn't her target. She wasn't particularly looking to win here. And Alessandra Keller, we knew in the lead up to this, she'd had her reconstructive surgery on her ACL as well. But perhaps a moment for Sammy Maxwell finishing in second.
What a moment for Sammy. You could see her coming across the line. She was visibly just stoked. Yeah. She's always bubbly when we chat to her, and she's always someone that you can't help but feel that energy rub off when she's just so excited and happy to be here. And to come out with a result like that, we mentioned before, we didn't exactly get to see her perform that much last year. She stepped into that brand new Rock Rider forward team, the decathlon forward team, and we didn't get to see what kind of legs she had. She came out of that under-23s exceptionally. Her, Ronja Blocklinger, they were some of the standout performers a couple of years ago. That's a statement. I mean, Henry, you've come into these races before. What does that mean as a young athlete? That's an incredible moment to step up as a podium contender in the first race.
Yeah, for sure. I think that to hit your first podium on a discipline, that's something so big and so meaningful. I think to Samara, probably she struggled a little bit with getting to the top too early, or kind of like to the top when I mean at least on a category level. And it's not easy to manage the expectations that you put on yourself, but also the expectations that you get from the surrounding, from people around you, from the public.
You think that she could feel that excitement?
For sure, for sure.
Just the adrenaline?
For sure, but like within time, you tend to learn how to use that into your favor, not as a crusher. So I think probably today it's a really good sign that she's maturing pretty fast, and that she can use the pressure as a benefit, the expectation as a benefit, and the hard work, and transfer into having a good time, even if it's not easy to have a good time on high intensity, like fighting on this level.
It's easy.
But she looked to have fun, and we could see, I always love this type of emotional reactions when you cross the line. I think that's the most real you can get. So it was beautiful to see, that she was so happy.
So happy.
So the adrenaline was also popping for Evie Richards when we spoke to her after the race.
Evie, first race of the season, and you're in top spot. You start your season with a win. What a way to get going.
Yeah, I'm super happy, as I said in another interview. This wasn't a target race for me, so I'm obviously super happy I won, and definitely wasn't very confident coming into it, but yeah, I like to win, so I was really focused before, and obviously I'm a racer, this is what I love doing, so I just give it everything and just see where I come, and I won.
Tactically, that was superb. Were you always planning that massive attack on the climb in that final lap?
I'm just trying to be a bit smarter tactically, and just it's the first race of the year, so it was more just suss everyone else out and just ride my own race. I couldn't have attacked if I didn't have the legs, so it was just on my feelings really.
And you're quite emotional. We spoke before the race about your concussion here. How tough is it mentally to come back and overcome that?
Yeah, honestly, even racing on those jumps, because the thing is I can do the jumps, but it's when I'm tired and my arms just go so every lap I was focus, focus, focus. And I think probably if you watch the jumps, I probably wasn't the fastest down them, but for me, it was I want to get home in one piece. I've got a house to renovate, so I need to get home in one piece. We can't have concussion again. It's got a lawn to mow when I get back.
I know you're in a great headspace. Your confidence is sky high, but how much confidence does this win give you for the rest of the season?
Yeah, definitely. You think it's high, but it really wasn't going in here. And with the psychologist, it was I just wanted to slowly build the confidence up. I'm not always a very confident person, but kind of fake it till you make it. So put on a load of makeup and hope that will take on confidence. But when you win, it adds a bit more to than just to the makeup and the nails.
Great to speak to you. You look fantastic. What a way to get things started. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Well, you talk a lot about the energy that Evie Richards brings to her racing, and you could hear it coming off her there as she was talking to our reporter, Ashley Wilmot, here in Araxa. So that was done. We'd seen the women's race, and now it was time to get the men's elite competition underway. Here's how it played out.
The first round of the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series in 2025 took place in Araxa, Brazil. UCI Cross Country Short Track World Cup racing got back underway with Victor Koretsky, the UCI World Champion and the overall title winner from last season, on the front row, but it was his teammate Adrien Boissy who suffered a false start. His other teammate, though, Christopher Blevins, was red hot right from the get-go. The American led Aldridge and Andreasen as they headed out onto the first lap. Jordan Sarrou, Andreasen, Luca Martin on his elite debut for Cannondale Factory Racing, all making their presences felt at the front. Huge jump line here in Araxa, and it was quickly Mathis Azaro, the French national champion on that brand new Origine squad, who was in the lead. Andreasen loves this place, loves Brazil. and refused to be shuffled backwards. Specialised combo of Koretsky and Blevins were ever present in the front group. But Blevins attacked on the climb, checked over his shoulder, and saw that he was starting to string the group out and forced this error from his teammate Victor Koretsky, which for any normal racer would probably be all she wrote, but Koretsky rode his way back onto the front within half a lap. Blevins couldn't believe what he was looking at, but knew he had to get round it. Got the elbows out, got past Victor at the base of the climb, and started inflicting some serious pain. The two, with a couple of 100 metres to go, nearly came together. Azaro was in third at this point, and as they headed on to the start-finish straight, Koretsky gave best, and Christopher Blevins took his first short track win since 2022 in a flipped result from last season. Koretsky having to play second fiddle to Blevins the first race of the year. Then it was Azaro, Litcher, Saru, Andreasen, Brido, Schurter in eighth. The capybaras were held aloft as the biggest smile of the day went to Blevins. Blevins, Koretsky, Azaro, your top three in the overall after round one.
Well, a mirror image of the podium for the two specialised riders here. Koretsky doing his bit, but Christopher Blevins making the most of everything he learnt this time last year, Henry. What a fitting start to the season that was.
Yeah, that was a thrilling race. Both riders, as we mentioned before, they're super aggressive. Victor and Chris, they took a few risks today on the race, but it is entertaining to watch. So I'm really happy to see those guys taking the risks, especially like on the first race of the season, and also like Matias Azaro. He was just there. Maybe he just missed like a little bit of the punch on the final lap, but it was a very interesting race. And also Thomas Litcher crossing the line in fourth.
Wow.
Coming from last in the grid.
Amazing.
So that's quite a ride from him.
Yeah, how do you judge how close to fly to the wind in those risk-taking moments, Oli?
They pushed it pretty close, I'll tell you that. I mean, what a show they put on. I mean, that was amazing, you know, to have a crash come back, for Koretsky to come back, but Blevins today from start to finish, he was pushing himself through gaps, sharp elbows. He was so focused today, and we, you know, Henry lost the World Championships with those elbows.
Don't mention thanks for the reminder.
Oli, you had one job.
Is that because he's been bigged up by the whole of Brazil all day? You're trying to bring him back down? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I got the message, thanks.
Yeah. we know how Christopher Blevins, he's such a racer. You know, he comes from a BMX background when he was younger, and that's where you need those super sharp elbows. And if there's a tiny bit of a gap, he'll go for it. And today, what a show.
It'd be cool, Josh, if you've got your technical gear, if you could show us a few.
You'd never believe it. Here's something I prepared earlier. Ready?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just bear with me here. It's just a microphone. I'm also happy to see you. So we've got some pivotal moments here. So last year in our race with Victor Koretsky and Chris Blevins, this was exactly the same. So he knew this spot worked, but he got the upper hand here, didn't he? He was able to attack and make it happen. We might be having a couple of technical dramas here, but just give me a second and we'll see if we can fire this bad boy up. So watch this moment just here as we see Victor Koretsky and Christopher Blevins as they come around the corner. This is the moment here where you can see Chris Blevins, his head's looking up towards his outside line. Victor Koretsky's flying around the outside, but Chris has already attacked here. He's put the power through the cranks and he's making a tactical move so he can carry a bit of momentum into this next section. So as we just press play again as we have a couple of technical dramas again. Watch this. Chris Blevins goes up the right-hand side, and this is a preparation move for this next corner. This next corner here, he's going to come from the outside, and this extra little bit of speed is going to carry him up this climb, which is pretty crazy and pretty important for the next straightaway. He gets one extra bike length in lead as he comes across the top of the hill here. Just pay attention as he crests. There's a cheeky little look over the shoulder to see what kind of damage he's done, and then he's away. He's all the way home. They're flying down through this final section here. Now let's pause this, let's come back, let's get to the final bit and get stuck right into the argy-bargy. How good is technology of today, huh? Well, we might have a bit of a technical drama, we'll flick that one. But as they come down to the end here, they came into that final straightaway. We saw Chris Blevins, I can probably pull this out.
Yeah. Are you going to perform it now?
I'm going to perform now. So Chris Blevins came into the final straightaway, and just before that bridge, there was one more corner to go. We saw he almost recovered a little bit in the steps after the jump. So maybe that little look over the shoulder that we saw, that was enough to know that Victor's there. He's already had that big move. He had a big mistake before, and I think he fell back to 10th, Ollie.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, he went right back. They just got snarled up at the top of the climb.
Yeah.
Victor even had to get off his bike and run, jump back on, and that energy he would have had to expend.
Huh?
I mean, it was amazing that he even got back to the front, even be able to attack. I thought he was done. So, I mean, he shows he's got great legs to recover from that, but that effort he had to make to get back to the front, that would have taken up so much energy, and when we hit that last climb, he would have struggled from that, I think.
And then we're into the final tech zone, and it was literally bar to bar. When Victor hit the ground after that bridge, he could see Chris out in front, and no doubt, maybe it's just me, a bit of PTSD from the Olympics, and Tom nailing him up the inside. He had to make it happen in that final corner, because there's not a chance to come out of the very last turn, and you're not going to oversprint someone in 50 metres. So that went all the way to the wire. Chris had to make sure, you mentioned before the BMX racing, he's used to the bar to bar. He had to make sure to keep his handlebars in front of Victor. He did that by leaning on him, but as Henry mentioned before, he almost lost it in that corner. He came in a bit wide, didn't he? There was a lot of speed coming in there.
Yeah, and there was also like a curb, so there was a little bit of an edge just when they rolled into the grass again. So that was tricky. That was very tricky. And one thing that when he was speaking about this final part of the race, Blevins, he took a look in one of the bridges after the jumps, and I'm wondering what went through his mind at this point, because you look back and you have like this 10-15 meters gap to a guy, but this guy, it's your teammate.
Yeah.
So
and it's Victor Koretsky?
Do I relax? But it's Victor, so do I press on?
You press on, man. Go. So what a moment to finish it up, and what an epic way to start the season.
Yeah, it was indeed. And he pressed on to the finish, and we can now hear from the first men's elite winner of the 2025 season. Now it's Christopher Blevins.
Chris Blevins, congratulations. What a way to kickstart the season, and what a battle out there with Victor Koretsky. Talk us through that final lap for us.
Yeah, I mean, Victor's Victor. He's a champion. I love having him as a teammate. So a little bit of deja vu when I was on his wheel on that grass section. And that just gives you, it's one of the best feelings in the world, when you're going for that last lap and you're about to battle with a teammate who you live this with. So, and then I was feeling really good on that kick and then the jumps as well. So I wanted to lead there and try to hold it off, which is a hard thing to do with Victor behind you.
How much were you aware of what was going on behind you or around you while you're trying to attack?
Yeah, short tracks, World Cup short tracks are such a fight for position the whole time. I kind of made an effort to be more intentional, be more of a fighter, like don't give up positions. Oftentimes I think I try to surf the wheels. This time I've spent more time in the wind than I usually do, but that paid off for me.
Well done today, congratulations.
Thank you.
You could see from Chris Blevins after the race there what kind of effort he had to put on the line in order to make that statement win in the first race of the season. And don't forget, guys, we're back. We'll be back for the second straight day of racing, and it's the biggie. It's the XCO. Josh, how do they go ahead and manage that?
Well, there's got to be a bit of a schedule in place here to recover. It's quite late in the afternoon. The race is tomorrow. There's a bit of heat, bit of humidity. You can see how hard Chris was breathing there. It is only a 20-minute race, so you're not burning that much energy, but it's a 20-minute max threshold and then some effort. So you got to be calculated with your recovery. Get your recovery shakes back in. There's a proper science to recover from this. They're not just going back, having a cheeky Coca-Cola and enjoying a burger. There's a science. Henry knows all too well about this now that he's a roadie as well. Hey, we forgot to tell you that
a little
part.
bit more old school, maybe.
What was your recovery back-to-back races?
No, I do like to do some ice bathing, but I had a few teammates. I'm not going to mention any names. Don't worry, Manuel Fumich. But he would have like a couple of beers for sure. Like if he was going to race back-to-back, that would be his recovery program. I think most of the guys are going to ice bath, some physio as well, but also like to calm down mentally. I think that's key.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay then, team. Well, that sounds like a really good recovery program from where I'm standing. So I suggest that we go and get our own in place. It's time to wrap the Beeline. Great to have you with us today, and we'll be back with another one straight after the XCO.